Thank you. I am delighted to be here to give information about the Dublin Urban Rivers LIFE project, or DURL project, which is a collaboration between South Dublin County Council and Laoghaire-Rathdown County Council, and it's also funded by the European LIFE programme, which is in the European Climate Infrastructure and Environmental Executive Agency, CINEA. So the project is a demonstration of how to address the urban water quality issue of misconnections by focusing on two river catchments. That's the River Griffin in South Dublin County Council and the Carrickmine Stream and Shangana River in Laoghaire-Rathdown County Councils. Both catchments are similar. They are 8 kilometres in size and have approximately 14,000 households. What we did in the project was we identified the polluted pipes or the stormwater outfalls going to the river, and then we developed artificial drainage subcatchments around all of the houses draining to these polluted pipes. And you can see there the pipes for the Griffin are in orange, the stormwater outfalls for the Griffin are in purple, and there's 28 of those, and then the stormwater outfall, the stormwater drainage subcatchments for the Carrickmine Stream are in orange, and there's 83 of those. And on the right, it lists the main objectives that the project focused on, and we're going to start with the objective of public engagement and awareness. This was a key component of the project, and it enabled us to achieve the objectives by bringing the public on board from the outset. So, first of all, I suppose the main thing is to explain what a misconnection is, and I'm going to play this animated video that has been developed by the project. It's going to identify what a misconnection is, the environmental impacts of it, and how it can be repaired. And this is a 1-minute animated video that will be available after this conference on social media. So.
In urban areas, there are 2 drainage systems. Stormwater drains take rainwater from roofs, paths, driveways and gullies and discharge directly to the local river. Foul sewer drains take the discharges from household appliances and drain to wastewater treatment plants. A misconnection occurs when household appliances are mistakenly connected to the stormwater drainage system instead of foul sewers. Consequences can be serious, and many hundreds of houses can be misconnected. Misconnections cause pollution, emit bad smells, create an unhealthy environment and damage to aquatic life. Homeowners are responsible for their home. The majority of misconnection repairs are affordable, and a homeowner or a tradesperson can make the repairs. The main consideration is that they use the right pipes and fittings. Fixing misconnections will improve water quality in your area, safeguarding it for future generations.
Okay, so the education and awareness aspects of the project, they were pivotal. So we engaged with the local communities to highlight the importance of their river and raise awareness about misconnections, and that was pivotal to bringing local communities on board. And we had a number of events since the outset of the project, and you can see here I've listed some events that have taken place already since 2024, including Eco Week, where we met with local secondary schools, carried out workshops there. Biodiversity Week, met with members of the local community, carried out some workshops at some of the Dodder Valley Park wetlands that we had, with some members attending the Biodiversity Week workshops that had been there at the planting of the wetlands, and they wanted to come back and see how their plants were getting on. Also, we have some images there from our Green Estate demonstrations, and these are where we meet with local communities, also community groups and residents association groups and public representatives, and we'll meet with them on a patch of green in their local estate or their local park, and we have developed a prototype of kind of the commonly misconnected appliances and the common drainage that you would see around the outside of your house, and we would do a mock-up of what a misconnection is and what to look out for with regard to the drainage around their outside of their house, and if they have a misconnection, providing information on what to do to get that misconnection repaired. And we would often, if if we haven't already done misconnection assessments at the houses of the attendees, we would often get requests to come and check out their drainage at their house. Another recent engagement event that we did was the DURL Conference on Water Quality in Urban Rivers. This was a 2-day event that we did, and we had a number of internal and external speakers. Avril Gannon, the Water Policy Advisor from the Department of Housing and Local Government and Heritage. She's there on the left with our Chair, Richard Fitzpatrick, and some of the external speakers from SEPA and the EU LIFE programme. And also on the right, some of our speakers, Paul Buggy from Laoghaire-Rathdown County Council, and we have Isla from VC Environmental, and also Inland Fisheries Ireland, Roisin also gave a talk on the day. And we had other talks as well in relation to misconnections. We had a member from another LIFE project in Paris, and he gave a talk on how he has been involved in the removal of misconnections for improvement of the Seine, getting it ready for swimming in the Seine for the Olympics there this year. So all of those talks will be available on our website. The second day of the event was a visit to 2 of our integrated constructed wetlands, and you can see a picture there on the left with Dr. Rosaline Dwyer, the Heritage Officer in South Dublin County Council, talking about how the wetlands were built with biodiversity in mind. Okay, so the second objective that we have was to use a GIS with the aim of increasing the detection rates. And the first step, as I said, was to identify how many houses that had to be assessed, and we did that by identifying the artificial drainage subcatchments. We've tested a high-risk approach in the DURL project, and the aim of that is to find more misconnections per number of assessments, and that will maximise efficiency and the use of resources. And the first step is to identify how many high-risk houses are in each subcatchment. And we use Google Earth to do this. And you can see from the image there, the Google Earth, it's quite easy to identify a high-risk house, which is a house with an extension or a large outbuilding. So if it has those modifications. And the high-risk houses that we have identified in the project account for 41% of the houses on average. And we have also found that the high-risk houses are usually the larger houses, the detached houses and the semi-detached houses. And also you can see on the graph on the far right there, houses that were built after 1990, they also had a higher correlation of being misconnected. And you can see that with the red line there on the graph. And the graph here on the left, that identifies the number of misconnections that were identified with houses with modifications. And the misconnection rate for houses with extensions is 11.1% for the Griffin catchment. For houses that have both an extension and an outbuilding, it's 10.6%, and then for houses with an outbuilding, it's 8.3%, as opposed to the houses that didn't have any modification, and that's 4.2% is what we have identified there. And by using GIS, that enables us then to develop apps that could be used by our stormwater assessors in the field. So we were able to track real-time data from the assessments that were being carried out by the stormwater assessors. And we also developed some dashboards, and they're up on the top of the screen. There's 2 dashboards, and I'll go through some of the detail that was collated from our assessments and what's visible there in the dashboards as I go through this presentation. Okay, so we identified an objective of the removal of 960 misconnection appliances at the outset of the project. And really, to enable us to do that, we place a huge emphasis on engagement with the local community and the emphasis of the importance of enhanced water quality. And we allowed the homeowners time to make the repairs and make good the connections. And this was key because the homeowners were responsible for the repair and cost of that repair of their misconnection. So the homeowners really got on board because we had 99.5% participation, and they really want to get involved and help their local rivers. We assessed more than 8,670 houses, and of those, we found that we had a weighted average of 2.4 visits per house to enable us to get in and do the assessment at that house. So that resulted in over 21,000 contacts with homeowners. And what we have identified is more than 640 misconnected houses, and 87% of those have been repaired to date. So we have 560 houses that have repaired their misconnection, and the remaining are under repair. So these are just a few graphs just to kind of break down that information. So we have identified more than 1,050 misconnected appliances now, and we've identified that an average of 1.6 misconnected appliances are present per household. And the graph there on the bottom left, that identifies the most common misconnected appliance per location in the building. So you can see in extension, you have the most misconnected appliances, your sink. In the original build, you have your washing machine, and then in the outbuilding, which is typically your boiler house or your large garden shed, and it's washing machine there that was the most commonly misconnected appliance. And we identified that 92% of misconnected appliances comprise of your kitchen sink, your washing machine, and your dishwasher. And how does that break down in terms of cost for the homeowner? So we've identified that 47% of the repairs were carried out by the contractor. So it leaves that the majority of repairs were carried out by the homeowners, with 53% carried out between family help and DIY. And the cost has been really affordable from the feedback that we're getting from members of the public. With family help, the median cost there of €37 and DIY €50, because in the main, the pipes and materials that they need to carry out these misconnection repairs are readily available in every local hardware store, and sometimes in your shed, because it's generally long pieces of white pipe and some brackets. And here's some examples of some of the typical repairs that we would see in the DURL project. The first misconnection was an elderly couple, and it was nearly more difficult to connect the pipes the wrong way around than it was if they had done them correctly. And this was done by a member of their family, and it cost €30, and that we were able to get the materials from their local hardware store, and it was fixed over a weekend. The next example is another family help one, and again, this is just a longer length of white pipe, and again, it was going to the rainwater gully, but it's been diverted over to the soil stack and going to the foul sewer system. The third example there is a contractor repair, again, longer length of white pipe, again going to the soil stack. And then the fourth example, it's an example of where a contractor, the homeowner still had their details and was able to contact them, and they came back. We did have to meet with them, and we did have to do a dye test just to confirm for them, but they came back and they did the repair with no charge. We've actually had 40 contractors that have come back and done the repair with no charge. So we're hoping that they won't do any more misconnections in future. And then at our stormwater outfalls, we're seeing significant reductions in nutrient pollutions such as ammonia and phosphate across our stormwater outfalls. And the graphs here show a steady decline for ammonia for monthly samples since the start of the project. And the red line there shows the EQS for ammonia. So the first graph is the graphene ammonia concentrations, and the second graph is a large subcatchment in the Carrick mines and the stormwater outfall from there. And the overall culmination of the door-to-door assessment work has resulted in the removal of 47,000 litres of wastewater per day from the two catchments. And that's 14.8 million litres of wastewater removed per year from the 2 catchments. We've 87% of that repaired to date, so we've already removed 13 million litres of wastewater. And I suppose to break that down in terms, keeping on the Olympics theme, that's the equivalent of 5.5 Olympic-sized swimming pools, the wastewater in those. Okay, so that's the door-to-door side, and then just to give details, and I see the clock is going towards the red. So we said we would build 5 integrated constructed wetlands. We've built 3 so far. We've 2 that we're going to build this summer. So the 3 that we've built, one of them was in Griffin Valley Park, and that was built in July 2022. The second one was in Dodder Valley Park. This one is called GR35, and that was built in August 2022. And then the third one in Dodder Valley Park on a very steep slope was built in September 2022. So in general, they took about 6 weeks each to be built. And I've got some images from the Griffin Valley Park wetland, and that was just after 12 months. And we noted straight away that after 12 months, it was thriving with nature. And it was identified in a survey done last year in 2023 as an area of high local conservation. And we were delighted to find that it actually was a haven for dragonflies. So very quickly they established. And also we were seeing really good results on between the inlet and the outlet samples that we were taking. So the blue here at each of the graphs is the inlet, and then the orange line, that's the outlet values. The first graph is the phosphorus, the second is ammonia, and the third is E. coli. And we've this year we've noted 70% removal for phosphorus, 96% removal for ammonia, and 100% removal for E. coli. And so I mentioned that we've built 3 and we've got 2 to build. The Poddle ICW is a collaboration between the Office of Public Works and the DURL project. They're building the wetland as part of the flood alleviation scheme. After 3 years in the planning process, on board Planola, planning decision favourably considered the wetland as an ecological and water quality enhancement measure that would mitigate the adverse impacts of the flood alleviation scheme, and that was granted planning. So that will be developed this summer. And then the 5th ICW is going to be built in the Laoghaire-Rathdown County Council area on the Trimbleston Stream. And, sorry, there we go. This is a very flashy stream with urban pressures. It was identified by the UCD acclimatized study as a stream with sources of fecal indicator bacteria that was affecting both Merrion Strand and Sandymouth Strand. This stream is quite unique in that it has a considerable area of the N11 is drained to this stream. And what they're going to do for this wetland is use an existing stormwater attenuation area. And you can see it there on the bottom with some of the DURL team and members of the EU. And that's going to be retrofitted by bringing in soil and some wetland plants. And what it will do is will store and treat a portion of the first flush. And then the last objective that we have was to develop a decision support tool and ICW builder, basically to replicate the actions that the project has learned over the course of our work. And the decision support tool is basically a 10-step program to bring users through the GIS side of the project, and also to provide the templates and the letters and the standard operating procedures that we used in the door-to-door assessment work. And the ICW builder, it gives all the information required based on our experience of building the 3 wetlands, between the scoping of a site, the sizing of a wetland, the spoil that would potentially be generated, and then it also gives information on specifics to consider, and also the planning side of it and the tender side of the development of a wetland. So that's the end of my presentation. I want to thank, first of all, you for listening, also to the EPA for inviting me here to talk about the DURL project, and also to the members of the DURL team and the technical group and the steering group committee and all those in South Dublin County Council who have supported the Dublin Urban Rivers LIFE project. Thank you.